Welcome to another edition of Eye on Matteson. I am your host, Laverne Murphy, and Village President Sheila Chalmers-Curran is the executive producer of the show. On this edition of Eye on Matteson, there are two special guests today, State Senator of the 19th District, Michael Hastings, and the newly elected State Representative of the 38th District, Debbie Myers-Martin. These two individuals have made great strides toward making changes in the South Suburbs. For almost a decade, Senator Mike Hastings has been serving the Illinois State Senate as one of the youngest senators in the state history. He has worked tirelessly to pass countless pieces of legislation that have improved the social and financial status of the state of Illinois. He currently serves as the chair for the Senate Energy and Public Utilities Committee and vice chair of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee. And our newly elected state representative, Debbie Myers-Martin, is no stranger to politics. Debbie has been serving in civic duty for over a decade, from her beginnings as Community Relations Commission to trustee to Olympia Fields, and served as the mayor for a term of 7 years before taking her on her new challenge. Debbie also works as the Community Affairs Director for the Illinois State Treasurer's Office. So I want to thank both of you today for joining me on Eye on Matteson and talk to me about a little bit about your goals and your visions and how regionalism and partnership can help move the South Suburbs forward, especially a town like Matteson. So thank you both for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Great, great. Well, I want to start off by saying congratulations for your successful election and becoming to your new position, and of course you're a veteran now for over a decade. So you guys have a great relationship with our village president, Sheila Chalmers-Curran, and where she's able to garner your support for various efforts through economic development or whatever the case may be. And I know, Mike, you were very instrumental on us with the Peace Project. So I want to talk to you. Do you think you being the state senator has been very instrumental on us landing that project?
So when I ran for office 7 years ago now, I can't believe it's been that long. One of the concerns I heard from the Village of Matteson was we don't have a grocery store. We have Aldi. Now Aldi is good for the late night pizza, but it may not be what people want to go shop at. And I don't think people should have to drive all the way to Frankfurt to go to Mariano's. Mm-hmm. So through my business relationships, I've known the Dramonis family who owns Peach Fresh Market. We started the conversation of where would you like to go, and do you have any great municipalities that we could locate in? And I said the Village of Matteson is probably one of the top tier places you can live and raise a family in the southwest suburbs. And so we introduced them to the mayor at the time, Mayor Ashmore, and then trustee Sheila Chalmers-Curran. The relationship blossomed, and we'll actually be breaking ground here and building within probably the next month or 2 months, which is awesome. That's just one of many projects that we've helped support, and we look forward to a lot more economic development in the Village of Matteson.
Great. I'm glad to hear that you've been very instrumental in that. And you've also been instrumental as well as far as having your support here for the village. When we first announced our plans for Lincoln Mall, you were there along with Senator Hastings as well. How do you think that is influencing individuals who may be looking to come here in reference to developers?
Well, I hope the fact that we are bringing light to the accomplishments and the goals and the work that is being done on behalf of the residents of the Village of Matteson and the entire Southland. I've said many times that we're all in this together. We're all neighbors, and when one town or municipality does well, it bodes well for all of us. So I am very excited about the upcoming projects, the goals for 2019, and I think that the people that live in the Village of Matteson and the Southland will be excited about that as well.
Great. And as newly elected state representative, what are some of your top priorities that you will be focusing on?
Well, absolutely economic development. As mayor, I constantly was in search of bringing new business to the Village of Olympia Fields. So economic development, because that helps you in so many ways. And I hear over and over again that people that live in the Southland don't feel that they should have to travel several miles in order to shop, whether it be a grocery store, retail. So economic development for sure. Education is a big concern for people who have moved to the Southland because they were seeking better education for their children. So I certainly want to support the educational funding bill that was passed in Springfield because that is so important to level the playing field for our property owners in terms of the high property taxes that they pay. Healthcare, transportation, there's a lot of work to be done in the 38th district, but I am certainly up to that challenge and look forward to it.
Great, great. And I know for you, Senator Hastings, a new bill just went into effect actually January 1st about the car seat.
Right.
So can you share a little bit about that? How, why was that so important to you?
So as a new dad of a 2-year-old, I can remember driving home from the hospital like at 20 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
And, I traveled down the highway of death in Baghdad, Iraq, and we drove faster than 20 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get that baby in the car, you want to make sure that the baby's safe. So I was approached by the Academy of Pediatricians and the American Association of Pediatricians to codify a law to put child safety first. And for the last 2-3 decades, the recommendation had been put your 2-year-old or younger in a rear-facing car seat. So now that's the law of the land. So, kids, making sure our youth is educated is very important to me, as well as safety. And Representative Myers-Martin, it sounds so great to say that. She was formerly one of my mayors in Olympia Fields. And, so we passed a landmark education funding reform bill last year that I supported. And the main goal was to make sure our schools are adequately funded. Those that don't have what other schools in New Trier has, we want to make sure that they have the resources necessary to teach our kids. I'm proud to say that our district alone probably got more money than most districts, which is great. We realized over $19 million more in education funding. Now for Rich Township High School District, it's about $3.8 million we got in additional school funding for the school. And that's all to help offset that property tax burden that's on our residents right now. The number one complaint of residents in the south suburbs are my property taxes are too darn high.
Yes.
And another $3.8 million, that'll prevent the school board from having to raise the levy even more. And it gives the school money to expand programs to kids in the south suburbs, which is essential.
Wow, residents will be excited to hear this.
Oh, it's huge. It's
exactly.
huge. Yeah.
And I know the question is, how fast will this take effect?
It's already taking place already. So they got their first installment a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to the school board president and the superintendent over there. It's sometimes kind of questionable when the money's going to come from the state, but I can tell you that education money has come. Okay. And with the transition of government to the new governor, we had 4 years of just pure chaos down in Springfield dealing with Governor Rauner. I'm very optimistic about dealing with the new governor, Governor Pritzker, so I think our area will definitely benefit from that relationship.
Good. Now you both understand and you know our community very well. And speaking on the strengths, how do you think we can capitalize on, and what do you think our strengths are, and how can we capitalize on those strengths?
Well, I think that the strengths that we have in the Southland has a lot to do with the leadership in our municipalities. We have great mayors, great boards of trustees and aldermen who really care about the people that they serve. And so that is one of our greatest strengths, community spirit, the fact that everybody is seeking to do their share and everyone is seeking to enhance the quality of life for not only themselves and their families, but their neighbors. So that to me is one of our greatest strengths. And what I believe is that in terms of the economic development, that will go a long way in helping with property tax burdens as well, because our commercial base is not high as other towns are. So again, the fact that there is awareness that economic development, we need to bring businesses to the Southland. And I'm very happy that we have begun to do that with some of the logistical manufacturing companies that have moved to our region, and they are investing hundreds of millions of dollars in our town. Those are one of the things that we really need to continue to capitalize on and expand. But I believe that we are on the right road, and certainly between the senator and I and the rest of the legislators from the Southland, we can keep that train moving.
Yes, absolutely. And what would you say as far as what we can capitalize on?
Pastor Singleton at Victory, he always says, people pray for different things.
Mm-hmm.
They pray for, whether it's I need more money or,
Mm-hmm.
but I asked him what he prays for. He said vision.
Right.
And vision allows you to think into the future. And he prays for that a lot, I know. And the one thing I'm really thankful for is that our leadership, especially Sheila in the Village of Matteson, I've known her for a very long time. She's been in Madison for a very long time. She cares about the community. And if you look over the past few years of stuff that's gone on, the Brookmere subdevelopment or the residential development over there, it was very contentious at first, but the vision of putting more housing stock in Madison, that actually turned out to be one of the best projects, residential-wise, there is. You look at Lincoln Mall, crafting a plan and saying, okay, will anyone buy the mall? No, let's knock it down so that we can have a developable piece of property. You look at Pete's Fresh Market. The vision that was set 6-7 years ago is now coming into fruition. And then you couple that, which this is the best part about our district, is transportation. We are the crossroads of the country. We got I-57, I-80, I-355, the Metro Electric, the Rock Island. These are all things that I think make our area just top tier for economic development. And I am confident, and I don't say this very often because you get kind of, as a senator, you kind of be very guarded about what you say sometimes. But with the Lincoln Mall developers signing on, and if you look up and down that I-80 corridor, I see nothing but good things ahead. And I'm very excited about it. And good leadership, good relationships, and making sure that we have a vision and implementing a plan, that is huge, just huge. And we have that right here.
Yes. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, what are some of your goals that you're planting or your visions for, your term?
Yeah, so I guess one of the concerns in Illinois is that people just feel overtaxed. So the question is, are we able to find other revenue streams without having to tax the population? I don't care who you are. No one wants to take more money out of your back pocket. Mm-hmm. I'm a resident here in the South Suburbs too. I know what my property tax bill is, and I'm like, how do you alleviate that pain? Yes. So are there other options that we can do? And I know that some of them are out there we're going to discuss, like a progressive income tax. I think that's something we should talk about, and whether or not those that earn more should pay more, those that have less should pay less. That's an option. How that's structured still has to be determined. If you look at our gaming revenue, we lose $1 billion a year to Indiana, Kentucky, and Wisconsin just because they go across the border and gamble. Mm-hmm. The city of Chicago has a great location. We have locations throughout the state of Illinois where if you want to go gamble, you don't have to go to Indiana anymore. Stay here at home.
That's right.
Sports betting. Listen, every guy, at least for the most part that I know, is out there. If they want to bet on the Bulls, they want to bet on the college football game, they should do that here in Illinois. They shouldn't be going to the Bahamas online and gambling. We could realize those revenues. And there's a lot of other things that we're looking at right now that I think are good opportunities, and it won't put a burden on the taxpayer at home. Yes. That's the goal. We have some financial problems in Illinois, there's no doubt. Are they fixable? There's no doubt. And I look forward over the next 2 years working with Debbie in the House. It takes both the House and the Senate to work.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I'm just really, really looking forward to making Illinois just a great place, not only to live, but it's also respected. Because I think when you go across the country, you talk about politics, Illinois isn't respected. And it's time to get some respect back.
Wow. Well, having great leaders, such as you and you, Senator, we're in good hands. We're in good hands, and so we definitely appreciate that. How do you feel as far as your tenure as mayor when you were for Olympia Fields? How will that help you down in Springfield?
Well, I think it will help me because, first of all, I'm used to working with a board and being able to reach consensus and to cooperate and to work together for a common goal. So I would love to be able to continue that activity and that exercise in the General Assembly. Also working with budgets. I know about the budgeting process, how difficult and trying it can be, but it can be done, and it's extremely important to have a balanced budget. I mean, because all of your projects and all of your activities are surrounded by the fact that if you have a balanced budget or not. And those two things in particular, but certainly working with the public, which I want to be extremely accessible to the folks that live in the 38th district, because I think that's important too, to have that conversation and to have that dialogue. So if I had to capsulize that, I would say those three things will be most helpful to me.
Okay, great. And for our viewers and those that don't know, what areas do your district cover?
There's 15 towns. There's Harvey, Markham, Hazelcrest, Country Club Hills, Matteson, Richmond Park, University Park, Mokina, Frankfurt, Tinley Park, Oak Forest, Olympia Fields, Park Forest, Flossmoor, and Homewood. I don't think I left anybody out.
There's quite a few.
So I'm very excited about that.
Okay, and for you, Senator Hastings?
So I represent double the size, so for every senator, there's 2 state reps. So I have all of Debbie Myers, Martin, her area, and then I have New Lenox, Frankfurt, Mokina, I have Lockport, Joliet, and Homer Glen. So you add that on the west, and then all the towns she mentioned on the east, it's about 250,000 people, and it's a large district, and it's an awesome district. I mean, you go from east to west, there's great things going on across the south suburbs, and I'm really proud. Yeah, people say they're proud about representing people. I really am. I mean, to think about this democratic process and people choosing you to represent them. When I'm in Springfield, I want to make the best choice that has the best impact on everybody as a whole, not one subsect of the district. It's very important to be fair and just.
Yes, great. And not only are you fighting for, the common good of passing laws and policies, but you also give back to the community quite often. Talk about some of the things you've done just in our area or any other area, what you've given back to the community.
Yeah, we have a philanthropic arm of our campaign apparatus, which is really awesome. So we raise a lot of money on the non-for-profit side of the house. I look at the Taste of Victory, which is probably, it's the last Saturday in July. We're able to provide immunizations to kids going back to school, haircuts, Kenny's Ribs that goes there and sponsors the food, probably puts 5-10 pounds on me that day when I'm there. So we try to give a lot of money for that, and we're going to actually expand it this year. So Pastor and I, we've really worked hand in hand in having a job fair. We want to have 100 companies there, and we want 100 jobs to give away, and it's very important to do that. And so making sure our community has access to, whether if you're not employed, get employed. If you need education, here's some resources for education. If you can't afford health care, let's get you some baseline health care. That's what government should be doing for people, and that's what our elected officials should be doing for people as well.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, our village president will be down in Springfield as well, helping all the cause that you guys are doing. So we really appreciate you coming on. And is there anything that maybe a prospective viewer may not know about you before we wrap up?
Well, I want people to know, they may already know it, but I want them to know that I am excited. I'm looking forward to representing the people of the 38th District. I'm looking forward to moving the state forward. And I know that that's not an easy task, but it's certainly doable, as the Senator said. But you have to be committed, which I am. You have to be dedicated. You have to love the region, and I do. And so I want people to know that my door will always be open, because I love to have that dialogue with recommendations and suggestions and concerns, because that is my job.
Yes.
I want to be able to represent and represent them well, in the city of Springfield.
Right, and it's all about change and wanting to know that change.
Absolutely.
So I know I've read somewhere that you have never been to Wrigley Field. Have you been to Wrigley Field as of yet?
No, I have not. In fact, I never even knew where it was until my daughter moved close by, and then it just popped up out of nowhere. So, no, I haven't.
Okay, so that was just a little bit of tidbit. Someone may not have known, so you never know. It may spark some tickets for you to come
Well,
out.
maybe somebody will invite me.
The first pitch or something like that. You know, you never
She's
know.
a Sox fan, true Southsider.
I am. That's why I haven't been to Wrigley
She's an
Field.
American, you know, Sox fan, that's good.
Yeah, that is true. And what about you, Senator Hastings? Is there anything that someone may not know about you?
Yeah, some people don't know that when I was in the Army, I was in shape. It seems like when I left the Army, I became a shape.
Okay.
10 years in the military was an awesome experience. I served in Iraq, on the borders of Syria, on the borders of Iran. I've seen a lot of the world that most people will never see. And the one thing that I've learned from my experience overseas is how to work with people that are maybe not the same religion, maybe not the same skin color, maybe not the same personality. And how do you figure it out? How do you get people to drive towards one common goal, one common vision? And that's one thing some people don't see about politicians or their electeds, is that we bring a lot of different experience to the table that some people may not know. So working for a Fortune 500 company, being a lawyer, these are things where, the skill sets you learn and working with people is so important. And I'm really grateful, really grateful the Village of Matteson. Not only do they have a great board, they have a great village president, and it's important that people understand that they work tirelessly for the residents. And I know they're committed. I wouldn't spend a lot of time in Madison. I wouldn't have my office here in Madison. I know how much Madison cares, and they deserve a senator and a state rep in Springfield that cares just as much as their leadership in the town. And I'm committed. I'm 100% all in to making sure Madison's a great place to live for our kids and our families.
Great, and we truly appreciate that. And the president has surely expressed that to both of you as well. So thank you both again for coming on Eye on Matteson.
Thanks for having us, Laverne.
Thank
All
you.
right, again, you have it. Senator Hastings and State Representative Debbie Myers-Martin for joining Eye on Matteson. Again, I am your host, Laverne Murphy. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, stay tuned, stay informed, and get involved. Thank you so much for joining us.